I'm going to start recording now. So here we go. Thank you all for being here. And yes, put anything you want in the chat. It's perfect. And we're going to talk a little bit about October. We're going to talk about fall. We're going to talk about the energy, this magical time that we're in. I think one of the things that I noticed, I pulled some cards earlier for a different situation. And what I noticed is the energy right now. I get excited about it, right? I get excited about it because it's, you can feel the other side. You can feel the different realms coming through a little easier, just like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and the shadow side of that. So I'm just going to start in on that. Sometimes that can be challenging, especially if people or animals are really sensitive. So I wanted to just start with that today and let you know that, with everything, I might be really excited, but sometimes it's not always working the way we think it should, or maybe it's not always the easiest energy to integrate. So one of the things that I like to do is create the capacity for that, at least with all of you and with my clients. So when we're working with animals, it's a little bit different. So they receiving Reiki is a fabulous way to support your animals during this time. they are even more sensitive than we are. I mean, I think that's fairly obvious. And having them fully supported, just really receiving the energy is so helpful. So I just wanted to put that out there because that is a big part of what I'm experiencing right now. And I just trust that whatever's happening is meant to be shared. So yay, I'm sharing that with you right now. And also to the shifting, whether you're shifting into fall or autumn, or you're shifting into spring, the transition time, that is really where we are right now. The calendar says we're in fall. Okay. Or in another case, the calendar says we're in spring. That might be true. That might be true. And there is still the light and the shadows and the movement. We just had the fall equinox. So that energy essentially means there's equal light, equal day, right? So having an opportunity to really watch the shadows, really feel the shadows as they continue to grow, at least in our hemisphere, and in the other hemisphere, watching the light come back more fully each and every day. It's exciting, and it does require capacity. So we're going to start with some breathing because I really feel like that supports our capacity. And I hope you'll join me if you can. If you're out doing things, not to worry. But I'm going to close my eyes and invite you to do the same if you wish, or just bring your awareness inward. And just dropping again, awareness down from the head, moving down through the throat, down through the chest and the solar plexus, the sacral, the womb space, lower dantian, root, down your legs, knees, calves, shins, ankles, and feet. Just feel your awareness all the way to the bottom of your feet. Feel that energy of the earth rising up to meet your feet. Such a beautiful feeling to know we are supported. We are fully and completely supported. So bringing that awareness in before we take the breaths, feeling the support underneath the feet. And again, if you can't close your eyes, it's okay just to acknowledge that you are supported. You are supported. So we're going to breathe in up through the soles of the feet, expand the belly, and exhale when you're ready. And breathing in up through the soles of the feet. Expand the belly. And exhale. Dropping shoulders, relaxing jaw, breathing in up through the soles of the feet. Expanding your belly. And exhaling. Relaxing shoulders and jaw, neck, hips. One more breath, breathing in up through the soles of the feet. Expanding the belly. And exhaling when you're ready. Beautiful. So we could probably do that for an hour, and probably not a bad idea to do that for an hour. But what we'll do now is we're going to shift into using the energy we have both softened, activated, and also cultivated. We're going to start with the cards. Okay, so I've got my mother piece here, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull the anchor card, just like Jen and I used to do on Tea and Tarot. Pull the anchor card from the mother piece today. I always feel this energy this time of year. I go straight to the mother piece because that is the time of year I was introduced to it. Okay, all right. Well, this makes sense. All right. Again, I'm always going to let you guys do your thing first. Just really tune into. So for those of you that are familiar with traditional tarot, this is Two of Pentacles, but here it is, the Two of Discs. Yeah, I feel this definitely. So there's all kinds of things going on in this card, right? Usually I don't say too much because I really want you to just, put yourself in the card first. What would it feel like to be this person in the card right now? I think we can all kind of maybe agree on that. So yes, balancing, right? Balancing the busyness, balancing. I feel this very strongly. And the snake really represents, life force, lots of life force. The babies represent obviously something new, something that needs nourishment and cultivation. She's very balanced in her stance, right? So, yeah, finding your balance. There are other possibilities for this as well. The discs or pentacles really look to the material realm or the earth realm. So finding your balance here on earth, right? Well, I can't think of a better anchor card. So that's pretty awesome. And then I'm going to pull from the Light Seers Tarot because, it's been a while. Did you notice that I forgot last week? I'm so sorry. We've been in 3 different places. So if it totally and completely just didn't happen, and I'm really sorry. And yeah, I don't know how that happened, but it happens sometimes. But I'll make up for it today. So we have the first of the month and first Monday of the month. So we'll definitely be diving in. So we have our balance. Yeah, life does happen. And now we're going to pull 3 cards from the Light Seers Tarot. Okay, that one just fell out. So we'll go with that one first. Love this card. Ace of Cups. Okay, again, as always, love to just let you put yourself into that card. What do you feel? What do you see? What's the reading for you? Most of you probably can figure out well, love must be a part of that, right? The ace is the beginning. There's a newness. Cups are emotions or water. So again, fluidity, love. And you might just look at how she's holding it, where she's holding it, what's happening there. I love that. This reading so far is really awesome. So you know where I would probably go with that, right? Just in the midst of this busyness, just know that there is a lot of unconditional love that can flow, right? Within us, for us, and for others. Right. Okay. Next card. Oh, one of my favorites. Actually, in this deck, this is actually a really cool card. It's the Tower card, an old favorite. But check this out. This is such a beautiful card, right? Oh my gosh, such a beautiful Tower card. It makes you almost want to have the Tower card. And for those of you that are new to tarot, the traditional read of the Tower is, let's just say lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of change. We'll just go with that as the easeful way to see it. But truthfully, when we look at the Tower card, and particularly if you look at this one, right? Wow, what do you notice? What do you feel? This is really awesome. Like, I'll just give you some detail here, right? Just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So that brings a whole new feeling to the Tower card. Yeah, awesome. I love that. Yeah, so yes, I think that having well, I mean, in this case, let's go with the desire to enjoy this Tower card. I think that when we're in times of tremendous change, again, capacity, right? I mean, constant stress and constant change is really challenging. So the Tower card really does speak to a reworking, a complete reworking of something in your life. Sometimes I drew it all the time for about 5 years straight. And it was just a continual reworking of the inside of me, and then the outer life reflecting the inner shifting. The shadow side clearly has a bit of turmoil, which honestly, the world has plenty of that for us. So we are kind of in a constant of turmoil, I think, on some level. And so that's why I think it's so important to find that balance. And whether this is self-love or inner peace or however you want to see this, really developing more time. And I am speaking to myself, by the way, not saying I do this enough. But I do think that as we enter into, I'm going to say, particularly this Tower card reminds me that we are in the change time of the year. So the beauty of this card really is reflected in the butterflies and the acorn, which will eventually grow into a beautiful tree, right? So there's a promise of greatness here, I think. At least that's how I see it. But again, your interpretation is what matters for you. I'm just giving a little thought, my little thoughts today. All right. Next card. Justice. Now, whenever I pull the Justice or Strength card, they sometimes are reversed. In this particular deck, it's the 11 is called Justice. So we'll just go with it. It's a little challenging for my brain because I read the 11th card very differently, but we'll just go with this picture. We'll go with this image. What do you see? What do you notice? What's happening? It is an interesting image. All of these have been pulled in their regular way, not reversed. So just really focusing in on the image. And again, you'll notice it's not too hard to see. There's this balance, very much like Libra, right? Libra does work out to be, we're in Libra time. And Libra, as we know her, is a sign for justice and equilibrium and beauty and love in a more kind of a more mental way, I would say. There's definitely love that flows within the Libra that is really quite extraordinary. It's ruled by Venus. So here we have a really incredible card of justice, and you can determine what that word means for you. So far we have this card, 2 of discs. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the Tower card. And then we have the Justice card. Okay. Now, the last card I'm going to pull for this read, I told you I would make up for last week, right? Okay. I'm going to pull from the Work Your Light Oracle deck because I really feel like we could use a good message. So these messages here are really stacking up to a process that we're engaged in currently, right? And so this card, I'm just asking this card to give us some indication of what we can focus on for as we move through the process for our greatest good and the highest and best good for all. Okay. You're in here somewhere. There you are. Okay. Well then. Well then, she says. Apparently our focus is birthing a new age. Birthing a new age. Well, I keep talking about how things shift a little bit next year, right? Big changes. So birthing a new age. So interesting when I went to Shasta well, it wasn't that, I guess it was August. Wow, feels like recently. We got to walk in the spiral circles up at the top of Mount Shasta. It's not really the tip top, but very top parking lot. They have these beautiful spirals. And this is, again, very clear that we are being asked to birth new creations and dream a new world into being. And I think everyone who's here is doing that. So you wouldn't be here if you weren't already doing that. So I think that the message is to keep going, keep dreaming, keep moving into this beautiful energy that you create, right? That you are here on earth now to bring forth, again, in the highest and best way for everyone, including yourself, right? Sometimes we forget to include ourselves, but it is really important. So that's a very powerful message. So why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because on some level, our souls volunteered to help shift eras. And that's what we're doing right now. We're in the middle of that. So to that end, I should really start talking about the astrology of the month. So let me pull that up. I'm going to be looking at it because it is a little bit easier to do so. One of the things that is very clear is as we move from the equinox, we moved right into a full moon. Now that technically was still September, but I don't know about all of you. I'm still feeling a little bit of that full moon. The full moon in Aries tends to have quite a kick for me. I was reading, one of my mentors was writing about different moons. She's very much a moon mentor, and really important to figure out which moons, how do you feel during each moon? What do they represent? What do they, what stirs up for you during each moon? So, okay. The name of the card is Birthing a New Age. Yeah, thanks for that request for information. All right. Okie doke. So as we move from the Aries full moon, obviously we moved into Taurus moon, we'll move into Gemini. You might, since we just started the cycle, you might just want to tap in. How do I feel? How do I feel different during each moon? I think that's a great idea personally. Okay. So one of the things that's going to happen while we're in this October time, right, is we are going to be very powerfully in Libra. That's really key. So how do you feel when you're in Libra? right? What is Libra for you? Again, we have lots of options here with this tarot reading. So, it can be busy because of the shift in the seasons. Also, people have a lot going on this time of year. It could be there's advocacy that needs to happen. There's the return of the light or the lessening of the light. There's the birthing of the new age that we're all getting ready for. Just a few things. Okay. So Mercury enters Libra on the 4th, so in just a couple of days. How does this change things? Mercury is a personal planet, so it affects us more personally, but it can also have a collective, we can have a very collective experience of Mercury. But if we think of Mercury as the messenger, right? The great messenger, we think of communication. How would this Libra energy of balance and beauty, this divine love coming through, justice, how might that play out? I think that for some of us, whether we're writing something or we've written something or we've spoken something, it's probably time now to find our balance with it, and as we're continuing to write, what feels most in balance or congruent for the energy. So that's important to think about. Venus, who has been in Leo all summer. Thank you, Venus, for such a powerful experience all summer. Venus in Leo, wow, it's been a big one. Looking at relationships with self, with money, with others, with creativity, with life. So thank you, Venus, for taking us on that journey. Venus will enter Virgo on the 8th. Okay, so a shift. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So even though Mercury has moved into Libra, having Venus move into Virgo brings back a little bit more of that Virgo energy for us. And what does that look like? I think of Virgo, again, earth sign. Venus in Virgo is very grounded. Again, getting things done, being efficient. I'm really looking forward to this, by the way. Being able to really check in with the earth and just be very present with how the literal groundedness of our experience here is helping us with our flow of life force, of love, of energy, of communication, getting things done. Virgo, again, I always say this, but it bears mentioning every time. Virgo is like the high priestess of the temple for me. She is getting it all done and she's making sure everybody's got what they need. And that's what we need this time of year, right? So Venus moves into Virgo on the 8th. Now, the thing that is very, it's kind of one of the big, there's a lot of big things this month. That's why we're doing this. One of the big things this month is Pluto does go direct on the 10th. So 10-10 might be different depending on where you are in the world, but right around 10-10, Pluto moves in the direct movement. So that means we're in the shadow. And we will be in the shadow after it moves direct for a little bit. What does that mean? Well, that means that Pluto, our big planet of transformation, not unlike the Tower card, right, is offering us reminders of how our soul needs change, how we want to change, how we are changing. And on a collective level, this is the last little piece of Pluto in Capricorn. So what traditions do you want to keep? What feels in alignment with who you are, where you want to be? If we're birthing a new age, which is really the plan here, what needs to stay, what needs to go? Pluto in Capricorn has been here since, it made a little inroads in 2008, but essentially since 2010, very strongly. It really does, and I think I say this every time, so forgive me for continuing to repeat it, but I do think it really is important to look back to the last 13 years, full 13 years, maybe even a little bit longer, and ask yourself how you've changed. And then ask yourself, how does your soul want you to continue to evolve? How does your soul want you to continue to evolve? You know, the question with Pluto, because it's so deep and it's very much about the soul's journey, is why did I come here anyway? What was the purpose for deciding to incarnate now at this time on this planet, in this way, in this body? Don't forget the body, right? Definitely don't forget the body. So, good question. And a worthy question to continue to ask throughout our lives. It's not just one time that we would ask that question. So as Pluto makes its way into these last degrees of Capricorn, what's really being asked of us is to deepen into who we fully are. And that is a message that some of you will hear in person in the not too distant future or on a live stream. But there is definitely a reason for that message in order for us to really work with the healing energies, whether it's something we do professionally or something we do personally, something we do collectively. We really need to just be who we are, right? Just us. There's no point in being anyone else, right? Just be us. And sometimes that comes with a lot of layers of healing. And so, again, not unlike the Tower card, the shifting and the changes and the stripping away of the layers reminds us that we are here on a journey. It's an evolutionary journey. So where we're headed, where we've been, are very different. So taking a look back, who was I in 2010? Who am I now? What was I doing in 2010? What am I doing now? How have I grown? Right? And who am I? Who is the me that is really, really needed to be present right now? There's a lot more to the Pluto and Capricorn journey, but I think those are some of the questions that I would pose and continue to pose to myself as well. So, yay for us. Here we are. So that's the 10th. Now we're at the 10th. Then on the 12th, Mars enters Scorpio. So we're getting ready for Scorpio season already by the 12th of October. Mars actually loves being in Scorpio. It was the original ruler of Scorpio before Pluto took over. So this could be, I think, bringing energy to us and bringing creative energy to us. There is, of course, as we continue to deepen into October, ever more energy around the other side. So I think for me, one of the things that I'm finding is that a lot of questions arise around loved ones who have passed over. And I've noticed that a lot of people have crossed over recently. So the openings into Scorpio season doesn't have to be Scorpio season, but it does make it a little bit easier to see to the other side. So just being aware that those messages may come. I read one of our community members wrote something yesterday and was acknowledging, when the light bulb goes on or off without any help from her, she knows. And electronics are one of the easiest ways for people on the other side, souls on the other side, to communicate. This is a talk worthy of itself. And a lot of you have heard my stories, my early stories and recent stories of, connecting with those on the other side. And I know last time we talked about protection and making sure that we're ready to receive those messages. So I'm just going to reiterate that. They come in the ways they come for you. There's no right or wrong way. There are ways that are easier than others. And again, the understanding of what is the other side and how this all works You got to remember that I can only see what I see through my filter. The knowing, I just have to trust that I'm being guided to share what is best in that moment. Where we'll know when we know, and I'm not ready to know fully yet. So I just go ahead and take the beautiful energies that are offered and the beautiful explanations that are offered, and you can do the same. Seeing a color, smelling a particular fragrance. Sometimes it'll be a license plate right in front of you with a message from, who it is from too. You'll be able to guess that, or even just know that deep in your bones. So this is the time of year where this is beginning to happen. So the 10th, the 12th, and then we have on the 14th, a new moon in Libra. Okay. Again, finding our balance, deepening into our equilibrium. And it comes with a solar eclipse full on. So for some of you, and I won't be home yet, so I won't be able to see it in the way that I would be if I were in Oregon. But for some of you in the Pacific Northwest, you will be full in a solar eclipse on Saturday, October 14th. The rest of the country, there's a big swath, and you can go check that out. Again, never look at the sun ever during a solar eclipse. The best way, there are viewing glasses. Make sure you know where they come from. I have always felt, and again, this is just me, this is not some big, follow what I say. I've always felt that during an eclipse, particularly a solar eclipse, I want to be really quiet and meditate. Now, turns out I will be offering a little bit of a mini retreat as it starts. So I'm going to be adjusting a little bit for that, because, it's the right thing to do during that time as well, is to go into, guided meditation, journaling. There is also some deep power available. And if you have certain things that you want to let go of, or things that you're calling in, and eclipse energy, remember, the eclipse portal opens and it takes us faster to whatever it is that we are searching for. So I guess for me, what I tend to do is, yes, I have a list of things that I would like to deepen into and experience, but I also want to listen. What is it that wants to come through, right? That to me is the most important thing. And that's where I go during an eclipse like this one. And we have, did I mention we have 2 eclipses this month? Maybe I didn't, but we do. So let me just look at the chat here. Yeah, I did not have input into that, just to be clear, but I do, there's somebody's coming in. Let me just let her in. But when I spoke with these lovely people hosting that, I did indeed mention what fabulous timing. So that's exciting. And I'm really excited when people have an opportunity to deepen into what they're doing. So powerful. So yes, if you're in a clinic, if you're in a retreat, if you're in a workshop, if you're in my workshop, in my new moon workshop on Saturday, the 14th, just know you are deepening. So anybody in a clinic or a workshop or retreat prior to the 14th, what I would say is stuff will probably come up, and maybe just for all of us, right? Stuff will probably come up before the 14th that really wants to be released. So yeah, big time, very important time. All righty. We'll come back and talk about that again, I'm sure. All right. And then Mercury enters Scorpio on the 22nd, right as the sun is also entering Scorpio. These energies are very, very powerful. So think messages from beyond, think messages from the ancestors, think magic, think, oh, what kind of magic would I like to create? So this month, I would definitely be preparing for what kind of magic I want to create. And, it could be something, it doesn't have to be like, some big magical spell, although it could be. But like I'm still working on my talk for the Journey On Summit. To me, that's magic, right? How can I share in a whole 18 minutes all the things that I'd like to share? So yeah, there's magic that's needed there, but also how can I bring something that's really helpful and supportive for the people who are watching or witnessing in person or participating in person? So there's all kinds of magic. There's magic outside. There's growing beautiful new plants that come in the fall. There's things that are, falling away. If it's spring, you've got new growth. There's magic everywhere. So the messages are going to come in different ways for everyone. If you're really close to your horse, you might want to spend more time listening. If you're close to your cats or your dog, if you want to do an altar for your ancestors, some of you already have them, I know, because we talk about this all the time. But even if you don't have photos, like I don't have any photos, I maybe have a few objects, but intentional, putting flowers out, being intentional with the thank you for giving me life, right? Thank you for being on this journey. And even when we have challenged relationships, whether it's parents or other people in our lives, we can still be grateful for having this life, right? There's a lot. It's not easy. I'm telling you, earth plane, not easy. But to be grateful to just be able to be here and work through it, right? And be with each other, which I think is really powerful. This is why we do this. All right, then finally, we're in Scorpio season, obviously, after the 22nd. And then on the 28th, we have a full moon in Taurus with an eclipse. Yay. Yes, that's a big one. That is the last of a series. What do I want to say about that? I'm kind of miss them. The Taurus Scorpio axis is an important one for me, and I love it. So, but it does mean that we are closing out something really important and entering into a new phase. So, with Taurus and Scorpio, we'll probably talk more about this before we get to the full moon. But some powerful ritual and reminder of how important it is to be embodied, how important it is to love your body, how important it is to connect deeply with this life, and to honor yourself and honor the other side, honor those who came before. And that might be spiritual teachers, or it could just be a school teacher. I mean, not just, because school teachers, very, very important. It doesn't have to be like this big thing. It can be something that just comes to you in your heart that you want to honor. So it doesn't have to be elaborate, I guess is what I'm saying. And just so we're clear, teachers are really important. That reminds me, interestingly, first answer, best answer in your own mind. Teacher that made the biggest influence in your life. First answer, best answer. And I had two that came in pretty quickly, but since we're talking about those who have come before us and those who have had a positive influence on who we are and are helping us even still in some form, right? Their energy. I had this really wild, cool teacher in 7th or 8th grade. Wow. You would think I would remember. Interesting. Anyway, junior high, for English, and so shy. And she just encouraged me to come out of my shell and to really, literally take the stage. She had me write a play, and I got to be a part in the play, and it was really great. She was amazing. It was like she was able to see each of us individually and bring something out in us during, junior high is not very fun for anyone usually. And that was amazing. So I still think of her, even now. And guess what we used to call her? she asked us to call her Princess. So we got to call her Princess. She was hilarious. She was also the drama teacher, of course. So not a big surprise, right? So anyway, honoring those who have come before, honoring those who have helped us on our path. Really good idea this month and into next month as well. All right. So that is what I'd like to share for October. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the recording and I'm going to stay on another 15 minutes and answer some of your questions. And for those of you that are listening and wish you could hear the questions, yeah, they're really awesome, but I do like to keep it kind of just within our circle, and this gets posted on YouTube. So I'm going to say farewell, and feel free to drop questions in the YouTube chat if you want to later. And now we're moving into the next phase.